Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Sandeep Das and you're watching now Ansible full course. In this course, you will learn what is Ansible, what is configuration management, how Ansible works, Ansible concepts, control and node setup, managing managed node via inventory, Ansible modules, executing single task via ad hoc commands, Ansible Playbook, Ansible Vault and Ansible Galaxy. Before moving forward, if you didn't subscribe my channel yet, do subscribe the channel and click on the bell icon so that you will get notified whenever I upload this kind of useful videos, and like this video as well so that it can reach to other people as well. Okay, now that you've done it, let's continue. So what exactly is Ansible? Ansible delivers simple IT automation that ends the repetitive task and frees up the DevOps teams so DevOps team can more focus on the strategic works, right? It automates the configuration management, cloud provisioning, application deployment, intra-services orchestration, and many other IT needs. When Ansible is used as a configuration management tool, it is used to store the current state of our systems and help us to maintain the states. It makes changes and deployments faster, removing the potential of the human errors while making the system management more predictable and more scalable. Now you might be thinking, what exactly is a configuration management? So configuration management is a process for maintaining computer systems, servers and software in a desired and consistent state. It is a way to make sure the system performs as it's expected to as the changes are made over time. Now let's learn about how Ansible actually works. So Ansible does not use any agent. Yes, you heard it right. Ansible does not use any kind of agent pre-installed. Ansible also does not use any additional custom security infrastructure, which makes it very flexible so it can run on absolutely anything. Ansible manages its entities or servers via the SSH or secure shell. Ansible works by connecting to our nodes or servers and pushing out small programs via SSH called Ansible Modules to them. Okay, these programs are written to be resource model of the desired state of the system. Ansible then execute these models over the SSH by default and remove them when finished. Okay, and Ansible modules can be written in any language that can return JSON, such as Ruby, Python, Bash, etc. There is also various Python APIs available for extending the Ansible connection types. SSH is not just the only option for the transport. Okay. Now let's learn about the Ansible basic concepts. So there are many concepts to learn, but these are the very essential ones. So what is control node, what is manage node, what is collections, inventory, task, playbooks and modules. We'll be discussing about all this in greater details in the next slides, but let's understand that here just a little bit. Okay. So the control node. Any machine with Ansible installed we call control node. We can run Ansible command and playbooks by invoking the Ansible or Ansible playbook command from any control node. We can use any computer that has a Python installation as a control node, laptop, shared desktop, servers, wherever you want to run, you can run it. However, we cannot use Windows machine as control node, but there is an exception. You can utilize the Docker container for that. You have to keep that in mind. Okay, and we can have multiple control node as well, and that's quite possible. Now the managed nodes. Managed nodes is network devices or the servers, to be more accurate, that we manage via the Ansible. Managed nodes are also sometimes called the hosts, and Ansible is not installed on the managed nodes. Make sure you understand that. Now let's learn about the inventory. So inventory is a list of managed nodes. An inventory file is also sometimes called a host file. Our inventory can specify information like IP addresses of each managed node, and inventory also organizes managed nodes, creating and nesting groups for easier scaling. Typically located as /etc/ansible/host path, but we can use custom path for the inventory using the -i parameter when running the command or the playbook. Okay. Now let's learn about the tasks. The tasks are the unit of action in Ansible. We can execute a single task once using the ad-hoc command, or you can run bunch of tasks using the playbooks. Okay. Now the modules. So the unit of codes Ansible execute is called modules. Each module has a particular use for administrating users on a specific type of database, or to managing VLAN interfaces on a type of network device, or anything that you really want. We can invoke a single module with a task or invoke several different modules in a playbook. Okay. Now since we're talking about playbook, so what exactly is a playbook? A playbook is a list of tasks saved so we can run those tasks in that order repeatedly. Playbook can include variables as well as tasks. Playbooks are written in YML and are very easy to read, write and share an understanding. Okay. Now the collections are a distribution format of Ansible content that can include playbooks, modules, roles, plugins, etc. You can install and use collection through the Ansible Galaxy, and we'll be covering the Ansible Galaxy in the end as well. Okay. Now let's deep dive more into the controller node. And so again, what is controller node? A controller node is a system where the Ansible is installed and configured to connect and execute commands on the managed nodes. Okay. Now to connect with other nodes, there are multiple ways. Of course, the password based, but the most effective and the more secure one is the using certificates. Now using the SSH key to be more accurate. Okay. Now here's the example where you can install the OpenSSH server and generate the keygen, and then you can copy that to that managed nodes. Then onwards you can utilize the using the SSH key. Now if the managed node is already configured using SSH key, then you don't have to follow these steps. Okay, you can simply go to this one. Now let me show you how can you install the Ansible. So for this demo, we'll be utilizing AWS EC2 instance. This is the screen you will see after you log into AWS, and from there go to search for the EC2 and click on the EC2. And for this demo, we'll be just creating one instance and we'll be running the installation commands. So let's go here, and there is an option called launch instance. Go there, and for this demo, we'll be utilizing Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. Okay, and let's go on. Now you can use any Linux OS. I'm utilizing here the Ubuntu, so it's fine. If you launch, you can see this is the instance come with the key already. Okay, so launch the instance, click on the instance ID. It will take few seconds for the instance to up and running. In between, let's open the Ansible installation. So Ansible installation. Okay, and we will come to the installing Ansible page of the official documentation. From there, you can see here's a lot of ways. You can install an Ubuntu, Debian, FreeBSD, Solaris, Mac OS, anywhere literally. And for this demo, we are utilizing the Ubuntu, right? So we'll be clicking on installing on Ubuntu. Now these are the command to install Ansible in the Ubuntu system. Now let's see if the instance is up and running now. Yes, the instance is up and running. So we can connect with the instance. So let's connect with the instance by SSH. Yes. And we are connected to the instance. Now let's clear it. And first command is to updating the repository list, and it's updating all the packages list. So give it few seconds and it will be done, and it's done. Now let's add a sudo apt install software properties common. Give yes, and in few seconds it will be done as well. Okay, done. Then add the repository for the Ansible, and it will take also few seconds only. Done. Now let's install the Ansible and give yes, and it will also be done within few seconds. Now the Ansible is installed, and we can check the version by running Ansible version. So let's run it and check it. So you can see Ansible version 2.11.6 installed and up and running. So now we can utilize this machine as a control node, and we can run the commands. Okay, but for the next demos and on, I'll be running from my local computer. Okay, as Ansible can run from anywhere, so you can of course run it from anywhere, right? After installing the controller nodes and setting up the managed nodes, you can test the nodes by running Ansible all, that means all the host dash m, that is the module, ping, then you can specify the attribute, that is dash dash private key equal to the, you can supply the private key path, and then you can run the playbooks like Ansible Playbook, then the playbook YML file, and then the private key path, like that. Okay, and if you are not utilizing any certificate, you can utilize a password. For that you have to give Ansible all, in case you are running normally, Ansible all, then the dash m, that is the module, then the ping module, that's ping, and then ask pass, it will ask you for the password. Okay, and similarly for the playbook, Ansible Playbook, then the playbook YML file name, then ask pass, then it will ask you for the password. This is how you can run the normal commands or the playbooks, by simply supplying the certificate keys or the passwords. Okay, now that you have learned how to set up the controller node, let's learn about the how to control managed nodes. Okay, so the next topic is managing the managed node via the inventory. Now what is a managed node again? So managed node is a server or node controlled by the Ansible controller node. We just covered the controller node, right? So what is inventory? Inventory is a file that contains information about the servers that Ansible controls, typically located at /etc/ansible/host if you don't provide any particular parameters. But if you use -i parameter, then you can provide a custom path. Those actually normally get used. Okay. Now, what is inventory file looks like? So here is a very good example. You can see a host file. You can see here. Now you can see here for the ungroup, we are supplying by the IPs. That is, we are not giving any group name. That's why it's coming as ungroup. Now to give a group name, you have to use the third brackets, and there you have to specify the name of the group. There you can, and inside that group, okay, you can give the domain or host names or the IPs or all three at once. So the domain name and the Ansible host is equal to the IP, so that this domain will redirect to the that particular host. Okay, this IP. Similar way, you can just give it only domain and automatically it will resolve. Okay, and suppose you want the particular user for that, so you can see Ansible SSH user XYZ. So to connect with this particular host, it will connect as a XYZ username. Okay. Similar way for the DVs, you can see another group that's called DV servers, where I'm giving 1.example.com, 2.example.com, 3 example, and here I'm not mentioning any IP or something, right? So while the controller nodes trying to connect with this particular managed nodes, it will automatically resolve to the IP. Okay, so I don't have to manage manually for that. Similarly, suppose see dev server 1 is a group containing other groups. So you can see dev servers 1 children. Here I'm mentioning that this is the kind of group that is holding the information about other groups. So dev servers 1, we are holding the app servers. This is the one, and the DB server, this one. This is how you can write the inventory file. It's quite easy. Just with practice, and you will be mastering it in no time. Okay. And this example, how can you like target the host? See Ansible, then the group name, then the module ping. So it just used for the pinging and check the connection is proper or not. Similarly, we are checking Ansible, then app servers m service, that is name HTTP steady status. If you want to use the Apache service, you use a sample command. Okay. Now here, instead of giving a direct group name, you can mention the patterns. Now how the pattern works? Suppose I want to target all the hosts, so you can give all or a star. Suppose I want to target the host that's IP starting with 10.0.0, then I have to give 10.0.star. This way it will target all the matching IPs. Okay. Suppose you want to target the ungrouped host. See, you have to supply the ungrouped. So in place of app servers, just supply the ungrouped. Similar way, suppose you want to particular host, this is the example. You can just give the group name. If you want to have multiple hosts or multiple groups, just via like this, say app server, then the symbol, and then the DB server. This way you can supply the number of hosts. Now suppose you want to exclude a group, you just have to give the group that you want to like there, and you have to give not sign. You can see not symbol. If you give that, then that group will be not selected. Okay. And suppose you want the insertion. So suppose one host that is in the both app server and in the DB server, that should only get affected, or that only want to ping, that you can do by like this. Okay. So you have to give the and symbol. This is how using pattern you can target the host. Okay. To run the commands, or maybe in the playbooks also you can use the same way. Now let's learn about the Ansible modules. So what exactly is Ansible module? Ansible module is a reusable standalone script that Ansible runs on your behalf, either locally or remotely, as you like. Okay. Now where to use these modules? Each module can be used by Ansible APIs or by the Ansible command or the Ansible Playbook programs. A module provides a defined interface, accept argument, and return information to Ansible by printing a JSON string to standard output before exiting. And above, you will see the useful modules. Suppose the ping module. Look at the ping module. Let's try to connect with the host and verify a usable Python and return ping on a success. Okay. The reboot module used for rebooting a machine. The get URL used for the downloading from HTTP, HTTPS, and FTP. The Git module used for deploying software or files from Git checkouts. The copy module copy the files to remote location. The file module used to manage files and the file permissions. The command module execute commands on the targets. The shell module execute the shell command on the target. The script modules run a local script on a remote node after transferring it. The service module manages the services on the remote nodes. The user module manages the user account on the remote node. The cron module manages the cron D and the cron tab entries. The apt module manages the apt packages for the device system. The yum module manages the packages with the yum package manager. The add-hoc module add the host dynamically. The template module is used for templating a file out on a target host. Include role, load and execute a role. Include task module is used for dynamically including a task. The include verse module used for loading variables from file and dynamically within a task. Okay. The debug module is for printing the statement during execution. So these are the modules that used quite often, but there are other modules as well. Let me show you. So you can see this is the Ansible official site where you can see the modules. There's Ad-hoc, apt, Assemble, as a lot of other modules are there. If you want to learn about what a modules does, suppose for the copy module, if I click on the copy, it will show me how to use the copy module. Okay, all the parameters, and you can see the example as well. So it's quite easy to use, and this kind of commands actually use in the playbook. So the playbook is nothing but this collection of this kind of commands. Okay, I'll be showing you when discussing about the playbooks. So wait a bit. Now let's learn about executing single task via the ad hoc commands. So what exactly is a task? A task is a unit of action in Ansible. We can execute a single task once with an ad hoc command. Now what is exactly ad hoc command? So ad hoc commands are an easy way to run quick commands to perform the actions, and it will be not safe for later. Okay, if you use the playbooks, it's safe for the later use, but in ad hoc it's not. It's a single time use. It uses the Ansible command line tool to automate a single task on one or more managed nodes. Okay. Now, what are the very popular use cases? You can see here popular use cases are rebooting servers. Now, to reboot a server, you have to run Ansible, then the host name or the group name, then -a, and -a is the important part here. This is a short form of the ad hoc commands to ask. This is how you supply the command here. So Ansible, then app server or the host name or the group name, then -a, and then the command that you want to run. For example, is been reboot. Okay, and other cases are managing files, managing packages, managing user and groups, managing services, deploying from source control. Just for example, if you want to copy a file, you can run Ansible, then the host or the group name, then -m. Now -m is the important part here. Here you're mentioning what module to use. So here you're utilizing the copy module. So Ansible built-in .copy. Then you are supplying the -a, which means it's an ad hoc command. Then you are supplying the src is equal to the source path where you have the source file, and in the destination, that is in the remote destination, there you are giving the remote destination path. So that's from source to remote, it will get copied. Okay. Similarly, you can manage the permission, create directories, remove the directories, then manage the packages. Now you can see here the Ansible, then the app server, which is the host or can be the group name, then -m, here specifying which module to use, and then -a, that is the ad hoc command, as saying that name, that is the name of the service. Okay, and the state that you want the state to be, and you can this way either present it or like install the packages or absent it to uninstall the packages, or you can put it latest to update the package to the latest version. Okay, you can do all that via the Ansible ad hoc command itself. Similarly, like yum, you can do it for the apt also. That is for the defense systems. So Ansible app server -m apt. Now -m means the module, then the apt is the module name. A similar way, the -a is equals to the ad hoc command, that is saying name is acme and state is the latest. Just like you did for the yum, you can do the same things for the apt as well. Okay, managing the users, you can like create users saying that Ansible all, that's we're mentioning all, that means the all host. Remember that you have covered the pattern part, so we can supply any pattern, to be honest. Now here Ansible all, then -m, that is the module, and utilizing the user module. So Ansible.builtin.user, and then -a, then the name of the name is equal to name of the user. Password is the password that you want. It will be encrypted, of course. The Ansible all -m Ansible built-in user, the module, the user module, then -a, that is the Ansible ad hoc command. Then the command argument here, name is equals to the name of the user, and then state is equal to absent. The moment you are saying it's absent state, it will be removed from that particular remote system. Now managing services. So we can start, stop, and restart our services. Okay, and to do that, we can run Ansible, then the host name or the group name that you want to supply, any pattern, to be honest, then -m, that is the module, and the module that you want to do, right? So here we are utilizing the service module. So Ansible.builtin.service, or you can just simply supply the service as well. Okay, the same. then dash a, this is the ad-hoc command shorthand, then name is equal to the service name. Here we are using HTTPD, but you can give any service name that you desire. And the state, now what you want the state to be: started, restarted, and stop. Based on your requirement, you have to give the latest state there. Once you execute it, it will become the state that you desired. Okay, now let me show you an example of this ad-hoc command by stopping a service, so it will be easy for you guys. Now here we have a EC2 server, okay, and in this server you're running a Apache. You can see the Apache page here, and this is the IP, right? Now I want to stop the service, and if we stop the service, then this Apache page will no more be loaded. Okay, so let's do that. To do that, I have the command ready. I will just show that Ansible, then the pattern name of the host, that is a app server, which is the group name, then dash I, and dash I means the custom inventory path. So this is demo host. This is a file which you have in the local here. You can see this app server, and under that group this IP have mentioned. Okay, so this is how you manage the host or inventories. Since I'm targeting to this app servers group, that means I'm targeting to this host or whatever host is falling under this particular group. Okay, now let's go to the demo commands, and then I'm giving the dash m. This is the module that is utilizing the service module, and then the ad hoc command shorthand, then saying that name, that is the Apache 2 service, and state should be stop. The dash u means the username is Ubuntu, that's what I'm using to connect, and I have a private key to connect with the EC2 instance. Then my dash b, so that it will become a privileged user, and then become method is sudo. So using sudo, the command will run. That's what it is. Now let's run it and see. Okay, it's running. It will take few seconds. Just wait patiently for that. You can see the command is success, and the desired state becomes stopped, and the name of the service is Apache. Right now, if you go to the browser and try to reload the page, it will not load at all. Let's restart the service again. And to start the service, here in the state, I have to give it started. Okay. Now, if you run this command, you will see the service will start again. So let's clear this and give it the command. So this is how you can start a service in a lot of servers, and similar way you can stop the services if you don't need it. It's a very convenient way, right? And this is a one-time job. You will be not doing that on a daily basis. Maybe sometime if you would like to, right? And this is a very good purpose for that, right? So you can see the state should be changed to started. And if you go to browser again, and if you try to reload the page, it's again working. So this is how you can use the ad hoc commands, and you can run it as you like it. And since you now learned about ad hoc commands, let's learn about the playbooks. Okay, now let's learn about the Ansible playbooks. So Ansible playbook is ordered list of tasks saved, so we can run the task in an order repeatedly. Playbooks in Ansible are written in YAML format and easy to read. YAML means yet another markup language. Very easy. Okay, every YAML playbook file should start with 3 dashes, and playbook are usually stored in a source control like Git. Okay, now if you like to learn more about the YAML, Ansible official documentation site itself have a very good documentation YAML. Let me show you. Now you can see here it's giving more information about YAML syntax, like all the information that you'll ever need to learn about the YAML basics, and you'll learn about the formatting, arraying, how to like supply the values and everything. I will highly suggest that if you don't have any idea about YAML, this can be really helpful. Okay. Now let's learn about the Ansible playbook components. The very first one is the host. So use the host keyword to target the host or servers by the host name, group name, or any pattern. We can supply any pattern in the host name and it will target the host. Okay. The second one is the variables. So the variables are the way for Ansible to pass custom values in the task. We can define these variables in the playbooks, in our inventory, in reusable files or roles, or at the command line. Okay. Ansible variable is defined by group words, host words, role words, CLI words, and it's called in Ginger templating way, that is in the double curly braces. You can call the variables anywhere in the Ansible task variables or template anywhere. Okay, you can have 3 kind of variables, that is string, list, and the dictionary. And for example, you can see in the example itself how we are supplying the variables. You can see Ansible playbook, then the playbook name, then extra verse is the keyword here, then we are supplying the version and other variable. The values that you need you can supply. Then in the, if you want to supply a JSON value, you can see Ansible Playbook release.yml. Now this is a sample YML file. You can supply to any YML file and giving again extra words, and you can see it's supplying values in a JSON way. And you can see from file, that is Ansible Playbook, then the release.yml. Then you can see again we are giving the extra words parameter. Then some values you can either give the JSON or you can give the YML file path as well. Okay. Now I hope you can understand the variables. Let me show you a small playbook so you can even understand better. You can see it's a very small example where I'm just giving the name, host, and you can see verse. Here in the verse, in the app path itself, so app path is a variable which is like a value is base path slash 12. That is, you can see base path is the variable that you can supply from either command line or from the file, whatever you want. I've shown you how already, and that is that value you are giving to the app path. Now this, and both this base path variable and app path variable will be available throughout any other task or anywhere. Okay. Now let's learn about the Ansible Playbook task. Okay, tasks play a very important role because tasks are the actual actions that you perform via the playbook. Okay, so it's very important to understand very clearly. So what exactly is a playbook task? The tasks are the action launch on the remote host. That means the remote computers or remote servers. Tasks are written in YML languages in a descriptive structure way, making the read and write uniform through any task. Okay, and we can do a lot of stuff with tasks. For example, we can execute tasks with elevated privileges or with different user with become. We can repeat a task once each time with the help of the loops. We can execute a task on different machine with delegation. We can run task only when a certain condition apply with conditional and evaluation condition with the test. We can group a set of tasks together with the blocks keyword, and we can run tasks only when something has changed with the handlers. Okay, this is based on the triggering part. If you would like to know more on the task, you can see the official documentation link I have given here. You can click on that and you will be able to see. Now let me show you a detailed task. Okay, you can see you are giving the task name. You are saying become, that is the elevated privilege. Where we can give the become method so that task can run as a higher privileges using sudo commands. We can also assign the username using which the task should run. We can give the check mode. We can give the diff no. We can also set the remote user. That is how the connection will happen. We can ignore errors if you want to. We can import task. We can export the, that is, we can import the external task. We can include task. We can, now the notify and handler will be discussing in a few minutes. So let's wait for that. Words, you can see how we are supplying the words. We can supply directly or we can supply from file itself. Okay. You can see here we can apply the loop, so it will run multiple times for the loops. And here you can see we can supply the when command so that this task will be executed if the condition succeed, then only. Okay. Suppose you want to run more tasks, but it should be a part of this task and it should be multiple tasks. We can write those tasks inside the block, so it will be all tasks running inside the single task. Okay, this is how we can group the task inside one task. Okay, now let me show you more realistic task. Okay, so I have one demo here. So playbook example. You can see here what we're doing is we're installing the Apache and verifying the Apache installation in a Ubuntu server. So first we are supplying the variables. Then you can see we're giving the remote user and all, but this is important part, the important task part, where we are saying that we are giving the name of the task, that ensure Apache is the latest version. So Apache, you can see how utilizing the modules. So just after name, we are specifying that this is the module should be. Here we're giving the full path ansible.builtin.apt, but you can just give this apt part or the actual module part. That will be also enough. Here we are supplying the name of the package, that is Apache, and the expected state to be the latest state. Okay, here you can supply any state that you like, but here we want the installation to be done, that is here. And then in the second task, we are ensuring the Apache is started. If it doesn't get started, it will get started automatically by the Ansible itself. So this is a very realistic example of the task. Okay, now let's learn about the Ansible Playbook handler. So what is Ansible Playbook handlers? Ansible handlers are action triggered call from another task and run at the end of a play. So a handler is a task that is defined by the name and call with its name as well. So you can see from the example here itself, the notify. So one task is running like write an Apache config file. So as soon as the config file is get written, this need to be restarted, right? So that's the reason you can see after the task is done, so the copy is done, it should restart the Apache, and you can see notify part is triggering the handler. So the handler name is the restart Apache, and in the notify you are mentioning restart Apache. So once this task is done, it will notify the restart Apache, that is the handler. Then here you can see in the name restart Apache, the Ansible built-in service. Here we are utilizing the service module. Here the name is the HTTPD, that is the Apache for the YUM packages, and state is the restarted. So it will get restarted. So that's how we can utilize the handlers, and there are quite a way to utilize the handlers. Here you can see we can trigger multiple handlers, and you can see the name, the template, and notify, and you can see the notify part where restarting the memcached and the Apache. So in the handler we are saying that restart memcache, and the built-in service we are saying the memcache, that is the name of the service, and the state to be restarted. Similar way, the restart Apache, in the service we are saying that name Apache, the state should be restarted. So and this way you can trigger multiple handlers, okay, as you need. And you can see here use the variables in the handlers. So you can see include words, then the distribution.yml, service module you are saying name, then the web service name, okay, and state is restarted. And here you can see you can reuse the task handler as well. Here you can see we have a file called restart.yml where you are restarting Apache and restarting MySQL, and in the task handler you can see host, localhost, and it could be any host to be honest. In the handlers we are saying restart services and include task restart.yml, and in the task you can see that we are saying that command is true and notify is the restart services. So you just have to notify, based on notification the restart will happen using the restart.yml task file, okay. So we can also listen to generic topics, and task can notify those topics. For example, handlers, here in the handlers you can see restart memcache is just simply name is memcache and state is restarted, and it's listening on restart web services. And you can see in the task where restart everything, we are mentioning that notify restart web services. So since we are listening on the restart web services topic, it will restart the services. And here you can see we are not utilizing the name. So instead of names, we are utilizing a general topic name, that is we are listening on. Okay. Now let's learn about the Ansible Playbook roles. And roles are very important if you are working in a bigger or enterprise level projects. Roles play a very great role there. Okay. So what is Ansible Play roles? The roles are the tidy way to write the playbooks. It permits to store a group of actions with the same purpose and to call them in playbooks in a single line. Roles let you automatically load the related verse, files, task, handlers, and other Ansible artifacts based on a known file structure. After we group our content in roles, we can easily reuse them and share with other people, okay. For example, say we are this playbook, so we just host at the host we're targeting roles as common or web server, and you can see the structure here, how we are supplying it. So while talking about the structure, let's discuss. So you can see the roles directory. So in this directory you should have the roles there, okay. So you can see a common role, that common role you can utilize for all the other roles. And you can see web server, that means the particular role that you define for the web servers, and you have to understand how should be the structure for it. You can see the task folder, inside that there is a main.yml. In there the main list of tasks and the role should execute. Handles main.yml, here handlers which may be used within or outside this role should be mentioned here. Library, there you can mention that mymodule.py, your custom Python modules which may be used within the role, okay. And then default main, here the default variables for the role should be there, and these variables are the lowest priority of the variables and can be usually overwritten by any other variable including the inventory variables, okay. Then the verse main.yml, here you should store the other variables for the role. Then the templates slash main.yml, here the template for the role should be there, and meta slash main.yml, here the meta of the role including role dependencies should be mentioned here. So this is the role structure, okay. And for demo purpose you can see I have given a lot of examples here. So how you should, this is a very classic way to call it. Simply give the host of that is the that you want to target, and in the role you just applying the role, and this way the main playbook will be so clean, isn't it, and more structured. So for the enterprise project you should consider this. So this is how you can run roles in many ways, okay. Let me show you a real example here. So here I have a example, that is host app servers, and remote user should be Ubuntu because we're utilizing the EC2 instances. Become yes, become method is sudo, and role is the example. So this is the way we are calling the roles. Roles, that roles keyword, and the role name, that is the example role. And how is the structure? Again, I've already shown in the PDF anyway. But here, if you go to the, you can see the role directory. Inside the role directory, there is the example role directory. Inside the role directory, we have the task directory. Now you can have other directories as well based on the, the other requirements, but this is important. The example role, it should match with the example role here. Okay, so that's there. Example role and the task. Inside the task, we have the main.yml. Now that what it parts first. So in the main.yml, we have the like install the correct web server for the RHL and import task, that is Red Hat, and you're importing the task based on the OS type. So you can see how you utilize the when condition here. So the task name, that is the install correct device for the domain, and import task, that is a domain.yml, which is this. So this is the Apache 2 present installation. You will make sure the web server is installed properly, and again come to the main. It's only will execute if the Ansible fact. The Ansible facts is the way to find out your remote host properties. Okay, so and this is checking that OS family is the domain. Then only it will include this one and run this task. Okay, so this will get run only if the condition succeeded here. Okay, and let's run this playbook and see if that works fine or not. Now let's run it, and the command is this. So Ansible playbook role example, that is the file name here. This is the file name here. Okay, playbook role example. Then I, that is the demo host. Now again, the demo host you already know, that is the EC2 IP that I have, and then you are supplying the private key here. Okay, all good. Now let's do it. So copy the command and let's clear the screen and run it, and let's see. It will take few seconds, so have patience. You can see the play is going on and the task gathering gathering facts. So just wait a few seconds more. Now you can see that task install web server is skipped because this task condition didn't succeeded, and you can see this succeeded because it matches the condition and it returned me the IP as well. Okay, so here we are getting the final result. You can see the play recap, which is saying that it's success, and this is how we can run an Ansible playbook roles, which is super easy, isn't it? Now they will cover it. Let's move to the next topic. Okay. Now let's learn about how are the ways we can run playbooks. There are actually multiple ways, and before actually running the playbooks, we can even do the dry run or test run. So you can see here the run on different hosts as defined, that is the Ansible playbook, the YAML file. We can run 10 parallel processes by giving the -f, then the 10 or whatever number of the fork you want to run. We can run verbose mode, that is the mode logs actually, just giving the -- verbose command. We can do the test run using the -c command. We can do the dry run giving the -c and -d command. We can run a single host by limiting it. So we can give -l, that is the limit, or you can even give the limit also. Okay, and you can see we can get more infos by giving the Ansible playbook, then the YAML file name, and then the list host command. Similar way we can give the list task command to get the task list. Now syntax check part, we can confirm the Ansible playbook that you have written have the proper syntax or not, or if it can have any problem or not, we can find it out. Okay, now let me do one quick part. Let me actually create a new host in EC2 and then add that host to our existing group and try to install Apache server then, and let's see how we can do that. Okay, and it will give you a good idea how this things works. So this is the AWS homepage. If you log into AWS, and let's go to EC2. There we'll be creating a new instance. Okay, I already have added an instance, but I want to show you the steps so it will be easy for you guys. So click on launch instance and it will give you this screen. Now here you will be coming and selecting say Ubuntu, because we are utilizing the Ubuntu, but you can have any Linux or any kind of OS. Okay, so that doesn't matter, but just for our simplicity of the demo. Now here simply we will go with the T2 micro, smaller one, then review and launch. Now make sure that you have port 22 allowed, otherwise you cannot do a SSH into the machine. so you must check that, and it should be allowed from your IP or any IP. Okay, then click on the launch. The moment you launch, it will ask you for the key. Now this is the key that you're utilizing actually. If you don't have a key, you can simply say create new key and give the name of the key, and then download it and utilize it like I'm doing. Since I already have one key, I'll simply go with that particular key. Okay, see, that is AWS DevOps. That's the key I have generated a long time back. I acknowledge I have the key and it's okay to access and launch the instance. So click on launch instances, and it will take some time, but it's fine. It will just few seconds or minutes. Okay, and then we can but while even it's happening, we'll get the IP, right? This IP 50.112. That one. Also have to make sure that since we are going to install Apache server in port 80, the port 80 has to be open, right? So click on security and click on the security groups, then click on the edit inbound rules and make sure to allow the port 80. Otherwise, you might not able to verify the installation properly on by the browser. Of course, you can SSH into the machine and you can do that, but just for your own convenience. So HTTP, and we are allowing port 80 and from anywhere. Okay, and then save the rules. That's it. Now let's go to the EC2 again and see that IP is up. Yes, the IP is up and running. We can say managed node 2. Okay, 2, and save it, and we have the IP as well anyway. So this is the IP. Let's copy it and let's add this IP to our inventory. So we can come here and we have the inventory we are managing in the demo host file. So simply add the IP here, okay, like this, and then go to your let's see our playbook. Okay, so we have a playbook example where we're utilizing the port 80. We're running the Apache servers. Okay, so first, this is the name we are mentioning in our normal playbook file. The host, we are targeting the host, that is app servers. Now this is very important. So this app servers group is actually in the demo host host file. These are the servers, right? Ultimately these are the IPs of the server, and you're targeting the groups. Okay, now you can have more groups. You can give the other group name if you want to apply to all the groups, or say any tags, you can give all that, or maybe just 34 up to this, any pattern you want to match. You can do all this kind of thing by pattern matching or targeting. Okay, but here we are in the playbook. We can let's come back to the playbook. Here we're utilizing the group name. Okay, and you're supplying the values, that is HTTP port is 80 and the max client should be 200. Now the remote user is Ubuntu, because for the Ubuntu instance you already might know that you have to use the username Ubuntu and then the key name. Now the become is yes, so it's giving the privilege accesses, and become method is sudo. So by using sudo, it's getting the privilege accesses. Then you are defining the task here, and the tasks are also very simple ones. We are giving the name of the task, what it's supposed to do. Then we are utilizing the built-in APD module. So APD is a package manager for the deviant systems, or you can say for the Ubuntu as well. And the package name that we want to install is the Apache, because the machine you have recently created, which doesn't have any packages for sure. So that's why we want to install the Apache in this machine, and the state should be the latest version of Apache. And we want to make sure that Apache is installed and started. Okay, if not started, that will not do any work, right? So it has to start it. Now we have the file. Now let's execute this playbook and see that it's installed the Apache properly or not in the new server. You can see the command here, that is the Ansible Playbook. That is a command which will execute the playbooks. Then you see the playbook example.yml, which is I was showing you a few seconds back. And then in that using the -i parameter, we are supplying the custom inventory path, which is demo host file. I was just showing you a few minutes back. And then the private path that I have in my local computer. Okay, let's run this command and see it will install the packages in the new system or not. So let's copy this. Now let's run the command and just see. So running it, and let's wait for the installation to be done. And it's ensuring that Apache is the latest version. And see the first one which already had the Apache, right? So nothing to be there. And you can see the newly added one is changed to 1. That means now the state is changed for that particular new IP. Okay, now let's see if that working fine or not now. So let's copy this IP and try to load in our browser. And yes, the Apache now installed properly and is running fine. So this is how we can simply run the playbook. Now I have shown you some simple commands, but you can do as you like. Okay, there are a lot of ways to do a lot of things. Okay, now let's do some syntax check. Now to run a syntax check, we have to utilize Ansible Playbook, then dash dash syntax check, and then the YAML file. So let's do that, and let's give playbook, then the sample one, and let's see. And it's giving no inventory was parsed, nothing is, of course, but there is no problem at all. I mean, no error, right? So that's we wanted to check, and it's all good now. You can see if it's something is not proper, you can give some like warnings as well, which is very good. Now let's try to list the task. So playbook, similar way, then the YAML file, that is playbook sample, then list tasks, and you will see it will list you the task that is mentioned in this particular playbook. Okay, you can see the play one. Okay, and you can do the similar for the host also. Do just simply list the host. Okay, so now that you have learned how to execute playbooks in different ways, or how to run the syntax check, or just listing out thing to get more infos, let's move to the next topic. Now let's learn about the Ansible Vaults. So what exactly is the Ansible Vault? If our Ansible playbook deal with very sensitive data like password, API keys or credentials, it's important to keep the data safe by encrypting mechanism. And Ansible provide Ansible Vault to encrypt the files and variables, which is very good way. Okay, and after encrypting a file with this tool, we can only be able to execute, edit or view its contents by providing the relevant password defined when we was first encrypting the file. Okay, so always remember that. And there are multiple ways you can do the encrypted files. Just for example, you can create new encrypted file using Ansible Vault create credentials.yml. You can encrypt an existing Ansible file using Ansible Vault encrypt credentials.yml. You can view encrypted file using Ansible Vault view, then the file name. You can edit an encrypted file using Ansible Vault edit, then the file name. And you can permanently decrypt a file using Ansible Vault decrypt credential.yml. You can also use multiple vault password for multiple environments. You can also encrypt a playbook using a credential file. And now let me show you in action how to actually encrypt a file or decrypt a file. Okay, now let me show you. Now let's encrypt a file. So to encrypt a file, you have to run Ansible Vault encrypt and the file name. So we have a file called encrypted playbook. Okay, so let me show you the content as well. The first step. So encrypted playbook has a like very simple, like already a playbook that we have run, same copy pasted thing. Okay, now let's run encrypted. So we have to run Ansible Vault encrypt, then the file name of the playbook. Let's do it. And if you do that, then it will ask you for enter a password. So new vault password, I'm just giving some random password here, but make sure you remember it, otherwise we will be not able to decrypt it. Okay, and that's it. So you can see the ends, and you can see the encryption is successful. Now what will happen if the encryption happens? If you go to the encrypted playbook, you will see some weird codes because it's all encrypted now. We can view the file using Ansible Vault view encrypted playbook. Okay, the file that you want to see. So let's try that. And if we come here and try the command, it will ask you for the password. Without password, you cannot see the encrypted file. So I'm giving the password. Let's see. See, I can now see the content of the particular playbook. But if we come here to the encrypted file, we will not able to see because we didn't decrypt it. We just encrypted it. And using in the command level itself, you can do the edit. But if you suppose want to decrypt it and then make some changes, you can do that. To do that, you have to run Ansible Vault decrypt, then the encrypted playbook, whatever the file you have encrypted. So let's try that. And if you try to do it, let's clear the screen first. Now let's paste the command here. So Ansible Vault decrypt, then the encrypted file. Enter. And now it will ask you for the vault password. So let's give the password here. And see, decryption successful. Now if you go to the encrypted file that you have previously encrypted, and see, now you can see the content itself. Now this is what we have done via the password, right? Via the simple text password. What if you want to maintain the secret in a file? We can do that easily. So for that, I have already made a file called vault pass. So I have given some value here, which is a sample password. And using this file, we can encrypt the playbook. So let me show you how it happens. So let's go to the vault encryption here. and to do that we have to run this. So vault password to the Ansible Vault, then create, then the this particular parameter vault password file, then path to the password file, and then the that thing. Okay, so let's first let's make a comment for that. That will be much easier and type of free to be honest. And let's also prepare for the decryption as well, because you might want to see how the decryption happens. The file, and you can see for the decrypt we have to just apply the decrypt command and then the vault password like this. Okay, now simple way encrypt. So this is it. Now encrypt it. So run the command here, and it will not ask for the password anymore because you are supplying the particular password file, that is the vault pass. Now if we come to the encrypted playbook, again it becomes encrypted and you cannot read. No human can read that way, and is now this time it is encrypted via the password file. Now to decrypt that, simple, Ansible Vault decrypt, then the password file, and simple the password file path. You can just simply give it and the file that you want to decrypt. So let's try to decrypt now, and let's see. And you can see decryption is successful. So now if you go to the encrypted playbook that we try to, and last time we saw that it was kind of like a lot of weird things. Now you can see it's giving the proper values, proper YAML file. So this is how you can do the encryption and decryption that easily. Okay. Now let's move to the next topic, which is the final topic of this course, that is the Ansible Galaxy. So what exactly is the Ansible Galaxy? So Ansible Galaxy is a repository for Ansible roles that are available to drop directly into your playbooks to streamline your automation projects. To init it, you have to first run Ansible Galaxy init, and then if you want to see the list of the available that you've installed already, you can run the Ansible Galaxy list. If you want to remove the installed one, you can run the Ansible Galaxy remove then the role name. Similarly, if you want to get more info, you can run the Ansible Galaxy info. Suppose you want to install a role from Ansible Galaxy, you simply have to run Ansible Galaxy install and the role name and the directory where do you want to install it. To search for a role, you can simply run the Ansible Galaxy search and then the git. And there is actually a better way. You can simply go to the site, simply click on this particular link, and it will redirect you to the Ansible Galaxy site. So let's do it. So here you can see this galaxy.ansible.com, where you will find all the roles, all the free codes that you can directly utilize in your in your project directly. And this is the home page where you can find, like, if you want the system related, networking related, cloud related, web development, or whatever you want actually related, you can simply say I want the development related, and if you click on that, you'll see a lot of free packages. And suppose you want to be like service mesh or DevOps, whatever you want, and this is a really cool way to install, like simply run Ansible Galaxy and the collection install, like however you want. There are different use cases there, right? So if you go to the home page, you will find your use case, and then simply install and keep using it. So this is it, guys. I hope you like this course and it's useful to you guys. The document will be available in the first comment as well as in the description section. And please do like this video and share this video with as much as possible. And don't forget to subscribe my channel, because that actually inspires me to make more such videos that can be helpful to you guys. And this will encourage me to make this kind of more useful courses which can help you in your day-to-day job. So I hope best for you and keep learning.